I'm happy to be here, and I'm the head of the Web3 Data Economy and Industrial Metaverse for the built environment Digitallabs, a quite long title. And I want to talk about, the built environment, why it's important for us to have a blockchain-based data economy. And I will tackle a bit about the metaverse. The great metaverse we've been talking about, the metaverse. I think you all have read this. This is quite late. This is from 26th of June. It says that the metaverse could be a valuation of around 13 trillion by 2030. I have some other things, the rise of the metaverse economy. So I think you know all these stuff. I also found something 1 year ago that the metaverse will become 30 trillion El Dorado. And did it happen? Yes, for sure, it happened. So for some people. So we are here in the metaverse. We are here on the platform, like, for example, Sandbox. I don't know if anyone from Meta, Sandbox, or from Decentraland is here. If not, then I can continue, because I mean, this is not what I consider to be an industrial metaverse. What I want to see of the built environment, of a digital layer of the real world. So, okay, what's the difference if we compare it to, for example, a gaming? Or have you seen this picture, this selfie? I mean, traveling around the world at this graphics, seriously? By the way, this picture was taken here, somewhere there. So then we had the great drop. But of course, Meta did it. They did a good job. They reorganized themselves. They have some glasses out there. We also use them for extended reality. And maybe you have seen the podcast with Lex Friedman and Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, that was really amazing. So if you haven't seen it, just check it on YouTube, because they were sitting next to each other or facing themselves in the virtual world. So this was really good. But if I compare it, for example, to Decentraland, I mean, have you seen these graphics? I just let the movie walk. So this is real. This is real time. This is like 5 frames per second or what? We have big corporations like Vodafone, Bank Santander, EY, and on some virtual platform. Is it really what we consider to be in a metaverse? Some fantastic 3-dimensional world? I think no. This should be a metaverse. It should look like this. It should be a digital layer, a geospatial digital layer over the real world. We're talking about the built environment. We're talking about simulations. We're talking about the planning, the construction industry, the real estate industry, sustainability. If you want to reuse the resources, the materials out there. So all types of information in a geospatial way. This is what we want to establish as the metaverse. And we tried this. This is quite cool. This is Regensburg, where we're coming from. And this is not only a bad version of street view of Google Earth, but you have the opportunity to really point on the buildings. This is, for example, our university. And then you get some metadata out there. So, for example, this 18 stories, an office building, or our wonderful older city from the Romans. By the way, it was really snowy, so this is a live simulation coming from the data from the German weather services. So this is the first thing we tried to establish, is really to have on a level of detail of just this bricks or whatever. I mean, we can go much more further. We tried, for example, doing some drone measurements. So we flew over our construction site and then had a scan and then put it on a metaverse service provider. And if you have the digital layer on the real world and you put there a starting point, this for example, and you have the scale 1-to-1, so you have the same coordination system, you can, for example, put yourself there. Or I can talk to my engineers. Maybe I'm in Munich or something around. I need to have someone from Berlin, okay? Civil engineer, for example. Okay, we are here at the construction site. Do you have time? Yeah, I can come tomorrow or the next week or whatever. And I say, no, I need you to be right here. And if I put on my augmented reality glasses, our HoloLens, for example, or we also do use the MetaQuest free, but no advertisement here, I can just let him beam here as an avatar. And we go around, step around, and I point, because it's just a copy of myself compared to this coordination system. And if I stare down, my avatar also looks down, and then we can talk about the construction area itself. By the way, this is a picture taken from the local press. So we were the first one who made a lecture with the students in the metaverse over construction industry. Okay, but actually, why do we need a digital twin? Why do we need a digital twin of the built environment? It's because we are facing so many things here. We are talking about the manufacturing, we're talking about the planning before, we're talking about sustainability. At least a real estate is an evolutionary process, and we always need to know the compared to the life cycle we are just in, so the steps we need to know what has been planned, what materials are there, what is maybe the heating system like, what is the weather like, how many people are coming to this place. So we need to know all this data in any time. And why? Because of this. We have a huge problem about the built environment because, I just took this out, I think this was United Nations, I'm not sure, but just this phrase, buildings cause 30% of the CO2 emissions on a global scale. 30%. 40%, I'm sorry. 40%. And if I go to energy consumption, we are around nearly 1/3 of the global final energy consumption by the built environment, by buildings, by streets, whatever. I mean, if you compare it, there's nothing bigger made by human beings than cities, of course. But if you want to be sustainable in a way, if you want to tackle this, then go to the construction and the real estate industry. And by the way, 55% of global electricity. So again, these numbers, 32% energy, CO2 emission 40%, and 55% electricity. This is a huge number. How can we avoid this? What could we do? I bought you something here, the ORF campus in Berlin. This is the first data-driven zero-emission district since almost 10 years. And how do they do that? They have all the data, so they do exactly know, for example, this building, this is an office building, how many people are there, maybe there is a photovoltaic solar panel out there, maybe here is some wind, there is also electrical mobility system, and they all talk to each other. They exactly know where are my energy consumptions, where are my plus consumptions, where are the people in a GDPR way, of course, in a secure way, where with the weather conditions, for example, also included. And this is a smart grid. And if I have all these data, I can have a cut off. I can optimize my district here. I can optimize my building, and I have the highest efficiency. So this is really important to have data on this. Or for example, this is one of the, so they say this is the smartest building in Europe, the Cube in Berlin. And they can have a cut-off of around 20% of the facility management, of operations, of all the costs. And if I take this data, because they have like artificial intelligence, they have some brain in there, some great server racks, they combine all the data from weather, as I said, how many people are there. If, for example, in this meeting room, there was no meeting this day, then the facility manager doesn't have to be there. So this is all built up by sensors. And then they have a cutoff of around 20% energy costs. And this intelligence can be provided in a smart grid to other buildings, for example, to this one or this one. And then we say, okay, this data, this information, this service provider of data efficiency, of energy efficiency, this can be delivered, for example, maybe 5% of the cost reduction. So they still at 20% get 15%, this one 15%, the Grand Central Station of Berlin also. So you can get from data, you can make incentivation, you can have a rewarding system here. This is, by the way, why it's so important for us to have a Web3 based data economy. I know, I mean, we will store the data on Azure, on AWS, and you name it. But before I go to this digital layer, I bring it on chain. I am the emittent of this data, and I can, have some participations, some incentivations out of this data through platforms like, I mean, GaiaX wants to have really exactly this, to have a data trading system. And this would be perfect for this built environment. Because we need this, we really need to rethink how we are building and especially how we treat our resources. Because what do we do today? Yeah, something like this. I mean, this is not to blame on China, absolutely not. We're doing the same in Germany and in Europe and in Americas. But I mean, look at this. This was very spectacular. I think it was 2021. And imagine, this is 40% energy, CO2 emission is packed in these materials. So why don't we reuse them, build like we can somehow bring it in a cradle-to-cradle system, circular economy. This is really important. Subscribe, okay. So we have really to rethink this. This is, I think, the foundation for not only the prosperity, but to be really sustainable. We have to think about the built environment in a different way, because this will be really the basis to, I mean it, as I say, to save our planet. Especially if we have such big portions of the energy and emission problem. Okay, that's my part. I'm happy that you took your time, and feel free to connect with me. Also, I will staying here, so happy to be here. Thanks a lot.